Welcome CNG 124 online. Let's take a look at the reflection discussions. A lot of them, for most of you, it was easier this week than it has been in a few weeks. And that's because we're starting to not look at the whole, but actually start to break down individual items. When we look at IP addressing, that's just one small aspect. But when we start trying to identify if it's a unicast, multicast, or broadcast, we're having to do a lot of on the spot. I guess my Netiquette gives you 10 seconds. I guess we're doing these really on the fly assessments of IPs. And even though you're new to them, for the most part, I hope it didn't take you beyond 10 minutes to do the activity. Really, it's just trying to grind in the identification of IPs. So you're starting to look at the first number, assess the first number, and then look at the last number to check if it's a broadcast or not. Is there a secret? Is what I usually get asked. Is there a trick to learn this? Not really. It's just seeing the IP addresses over and over and over. And actually, I guess you could think about there is a trick. So if you remember the slides from this week, 0 to 126, if you think about it in binary terms, in our first octet, it's 0, and then, I guess that's a pretty bad 0, and then I guess it could be 000 or 01. And I don't think that showed up too clearly on the screen. But a way to think about it is to start memorizing our 8 dashes, our 8 lines, and thinking, okay, what requires it to be, a class A? What requires it to be a class B? 192, is a class C, and that's 128 plus 64. Start memorizing what the numerical values of each bit equal. Does that make sense? What the 2 bits might accumulate to side by side. So you have this 0 and 1. It cannot be 128, so it has to be below 128, so it has to be class A. Let's see, below 192 has to be a class B. Below 224 has to be a class C. And if you see what I'm doing, I'm just taking the bits and adding them up side by side, so I can get an idea of where the IP is at. And as soon as I do that, I can actually start to assess them faster, saying, okay, it's not above 240. It has to be in the, let's see, in the other discussion reflections, there was confusion on D, Class D and E. Class D and E, experimental. The subnet mask would depend on the network admin. That is the best answer to give you. The network admin would come up with those subnet masks for those instances of IPs. Another student in the face-to-face class said, when would I use a multicast? When a group of computers need to talk to each other, that's not in the normal group. Here's a good idea. So when you have like a point-of-sale system and just a regular Wi-Fi, an easy way to put the 2 addresses together would be to have dual IP addresses. One would be your regular LAN IP address, and the second one with your point-of-sale system, well, that would be a secondary IP address, which would be your multicast group, which need to talk to each other. Because if you think about it, in a restaurant type scenario, you have the point-of-sale system that's interacting with the menu system, which is interacted with the ticket system that's printing out the tickets in the back for the chefs to work on. All ways that two systems can reside on one network. Yeah. Let's see, for this week, we dive into, I need to refresh myself with that. Oh, there's one more thing. Saw in the lab work, in the lab discussion that Netacad works. Netacad's finicky. Sometimes when there's a browser update, it does take them just a hair to catch up with that browser update. So make sure if you have one browser, as Benji did, make sure you alternate to a different browser. There's a whole bunch out there. Feel free to choose any. Let's see, week 4, we make our cables, so make sure you have your cabling kit. What your cabling kit is a piece of patch panel wire, I should say just a piece of cable, a hand crimper, some RJ45 pieces, I believe a cutting tool, and that's it. I would suggest watching either my 124 cable video. YouTube has YouTube has a lot of cable demonstration videos. Find one that works for you if my video does not suit you. Once again, this is all about trying to figure out how you can complete this assignment. There's not a one-size-fits-all, many different ways to do this assignment. So when you get going, make sure that your cable looks exactly like a good cable should. And I believe in my video I draw a picture of that. The outside cladding, the blue cladding, needs to go all the way into the RJ45 piece. I was looking around to see which one I had a piece left out in the slab, but I don't. And that's the biggest piece. The RJ45 has to be full of the cladding and the wire. If there is wire hanging out of the RJ45 piece, I'll actually look for one. I'll upload a video and show you guys a good example and a bad example. Then when you get done, drop that off at your local campus. If you're not near a campus, if you're remote, I haven't checked everybody's location, but if you're remote or out of state, email me and we'll figure out a way for me to assess this lab. But anyways, if you're in Colorado, or I should say if you're near Denver, Boulder, or Fort Collins, just drop your cable off and have them internal mail it to me. It'll come up here to Fort Collins. Let's see, this week no test, I believe, but next week we look at a test. Build and using a packet tracer. With packet tracer, this video is going to be long. With packet tracer, there's like a 10-minute video on YouTube up to, I think, like an hour and a half video of YouTube. Start to get familiar with packet tracer now. Watch some videos on it. Maybe just do a quick Google search, how to packet tracer, and get yourself some answers on how to start using packet tracer. I believe it's 7.2 that we're currently on. But you can also download packet tracer from Cisco Networking Academy. Log in. Should log in. And if you go to resources, packet tracer resources, and then you can download the packet tracer you need. Check your system and make sure it's either 64-bit or 32-bit for both Linux and Windows. You have even mobile packet tracer. It does work. Let's see, what else? I will make another video later today about the Kaplan. So make sure you're getting that. Make sure you contact Sandra Greenfield. She should have those in as of Friday. I will double check this morning after I get out of class at noon to see if they're available. And if you have any questions for content starting this week, make sure you let me know. Besides that, you guys have a good start of the week.